February is coming up. What do you need to keep your eyes open for? I'm Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 10 games to look out for in February of 2018. Number 10 is Februy, which is a very stylistic, open-world action-adventure platformer kind of hybrid game. From what I've seen, there's going to be some elements of stealth, some environmental puzzles, really just a very ambitious game considering it's an indie game. And I'm not just talking about in scale, but frankly in style, to do something that looks like a much larger game in a style like this. You play as a fox. It seems like you have a pretty wide range of movements, and my only reservation is it's being published by EA Originals, which is their indie label. I'm still thinking it's going to be a good game. It certainly looks that way. It's hitting PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on February 16th. Number 9 is Bayonetta 1 and 2 for Nintendo Switch. Anyone who has watched this channel for any period of time knows that I enjoy the hell out of Bayonetta. I enjoyed the second one just as much, if not even more, but I know a lot of people out there did not get to play it because it was on the Wii U, and frankly, well, that's really actually all I should have to say. It was on the Wii U. If you're not familiar though, Bayonetta is a series of games that is fantastic hack and slash. It comes from Platinum Games, and if you're not familiar with them, they're like the hack and slash kings. They did Nier Automata, they did Metal Gear Revengeance. One of the founders of Platinum Games, Hideki Kamiya, was the director on the original Devil May Cry, as well as Okami and Beautiful Joe, and Bayonetta is the friggin' triumph of this company. Although Nier Automata gives it a little bit of a run for its money, with Bayonetta 3 on the horizon if you didn't get to pick up 2, or if you just don't have a way to play it currently, which I do not, this is your chance. Bayonetta is coming to the Switch on February 16th. Number 8 is Metal Gear Survive, which, I don't know, seems like it could be interesting actually. Now that isn't saying I think it's going to be good, but I do think it's going to be interesting. It could be good. The beta has shown us that the combat has actually been expanded upon a little bit since Phantom Pain in a cool way with some melee weapons and whatnot, but in other ways it's still a little bit awkward. On top of that, if you're playing single player, this is nearly impossible to do in some cases. Also, it's structured a little bit differently than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be full-on Arma, but it's actually quite a bit more like, and maybe we should have known this, Metal Gear Solid 5. That said, it is weird. It's super hard, and not everybody knows what to make of it yet, but it's not just a flat-out disaster, which is kind of shocking, but I don't know, it really kind of depends on what happens with the game long-term. Just a beta test doesn't give you that much of an idea of what's happening. But to give you a clue, there wasn't a massive backlash over the beta test, which is shocking, if you ask me, regarding what this game is. Comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 20th. Number 7 is Age of Empires Definitive Edition, which, by the way, has been a long time coming. Some kind of graphical upgrade to this game, widely considered to be one of the most important RTS games of all time, has been something people have talked about for a long time. And frankly, this looks amazing. The HD art that they're doing for this game looks literally as if it is a new game. Now, a lot has changed since then, and the game is supposedly not going to be very different, if different at all. But to have a very well done visual upgrade, as well as frankly a modern launcher that is compatible with everything without any kinds of work, it's something that Age of Empires fans have deserved for a long time. It's coming to PC and Xbox One on February 20th. Number 6 is EA Sports UFC 3, and all indications are pointing towards this being an actually very good development of this game. A lot of new stuff in it, not necessarily shockingly new, but obviously the graphics are better than ever. I don't know if you've seen any of the facial animation from this game, but it is really superior. And considering previous UFC games have been actually legitimately very fun, it's reasonable to expect that this is going to continue the same style of play. I think when you jump into the previous EA UFC games, the highlight has pretty much been the gameplay, and it's managed to improve in previous installments, and this is kind of, I think, the opportunity to really suddenly become a much more prominent franchise. And they also got Snoop Dogg to be a commentator in knockout mode. The game's coming on PS4 and Xbox One on February 2nd. Number 5 is Dynasty Warriors 9. Now obviously we all know what Dynasty Warriors is, but now it's open world Dynasty Warriors, meaning it's going to be legitimately the most ridiculous thing you've ever played. And that's kind of the formula for Dynasty Warriors. They throw as many people at you as possible, but it's never really been in this kind of an environment before, and it seems like it's going to be a legitimately interesting development of the franchise, which is basically the reason I would still play the game, that they're actually attempting to keep pushing the franchise forward. Dynasty Warriors 9 is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 13th. Number 4 is the Secret of Mana remake, which is very interesting on account the original is obviously a very good game. Now, it is a full-blown 3D remake of the original game with voices, much more cinematic camera angles, at least when it comes to actual dialogue and action scenes. And they're opting for a very simple type of graphics, but I think they would really undermine themselves if they attempted to go with something more detailed or complex. Secret of Mana is kind of an action RPG, so it has a little bit of the Zelda feel to it, but it is a Square-created game, and it looks a lot like the remake is going to retain much of the feel of the original with upgraded graphics that actually are really refreshing. They didn't bother pulling back on the color, the design retains its sort of feel, and frankly, I'm pretty excited to be playing this. It's been a long time since I've played Secret of Mana. The Secret of Mana remake is coming to PS4, PS Vita, and PC on February 15th. Number 3 is the Civilization 6 Rise and Fall expansion. The expansion will add new types of mechanics like loyalty, which is sort of a change to the culture flip mechanic. It's basically non-militaristic border changing, and because they're adding a couple of new eras, Golden Ages and Dark Ages, if you can trigger one of those, you basically get a very specific reaction. They're also adding a new way of tracking achievements called historic moments that work together to form a story that can be looked at on a timeline. It seems like a pretty good expansion of Civilization in its current state, and it's coming to PC February 8th. Number 2 is Shadow of the Colossus. If you remember this amazing adventure game back from the PS2 era, in which you seek out and defeat various colossuses, if that's the way you say it, maybe colossi, I'm not sure. It's kinda monster hunting, kinda not, because it takes place along an actual story where the protagonist is attempting to raise a girl from the dead, and it can even be described as a puzzle game in some cases. Each weakness of every colossus is kind of a specific puzzle that needs to be solved, but it never also doesn't feel like an action game. It's kind of an odd bird, and people who are quick to label it as something usually get it wrong because I don't know that it fits a single label. And it's exciting to see it finally coming out in a fully remade version with all new assets that all look really, really detailed and great. Shadow of the Colossus comes to PS4 on February 6th. And finally, number 1 is Kingdom Come Deliverance, a game that looks like a very different change of pace, giving you an action role-playing game in an open-world environment that feels like one of the big story-driven games. But instead of going for pure fantasy wish fulfillment type stuff, they're going for a more historically accurate style story. The weapons, the combat, everything is meant to be historically accurate. There is no magic, and it seems to be a really different take on the genre that Witcher 3 is technically a part of. It may even branch off and kind of be its own genre in a certain way. We'll see. Kingdom Come Deliverance comes to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 13th. And also a quick bonus for you, Owlboy is coming out on consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on February 13th. It is a game that spent forever being developed. It is beautiful, it is fun as hell, and if you've played it on a PC but think it's more at home on something like the Switch, which I do, this is a fairly exciting development. Which February game are you looking forward to the most? Leave us a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed now, it'd be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.